when the Elusive team with Dan MacDonald turned up at the Valencia Grand Prix with the mechanics packed in a caravan and a Peugeot strapped to the roof, no one expected they would be seeing the beginning of one of the most successful partnerships in Grand Prix motorcycle racing. And you never would have guessed it after the first race either. Oh, we're on here. And oh no! Get up the order once again after that mistake and we're down! Braking, I can't get it right at all with this bike. That Peugeot was abysmal. As we're going to debrief with our engineer. And yeah, it's just total shit everywhere, mate. What can we do? Heading into their first full season, MacDonald was paired with Patrick MacDonald from Kenya. But the MacDonald clan, despite having a successful beginning to the season and the odd high point, they were mostly finding it difficult just to keep the bike upright. After a very disappointing first season, there were lots of changes. Gone was MacDonald and in came Andrea to be Dan MacDonald's teammate. Also, there were funds to develop the bike for the first time in the team's history, and has the bike improved? So did Dan MacDonald. After a rough start to the season, blinded with by point and the European stretch, the squad started to rack up the results, which eventually led to podiums and then a magical day in Malaysia. MacDonald's going to become a winner in Moto3, as by season's end he secured 7th in the championship, 134 points with that victory and 3 podiums and 13-point scores. Unfortunately, his teammate couldn't quite achieve those heights. So for season 3, Andrea was gone and in came the Cypriot, who was a qualifying demon but perhaps didn't race as well as the Italian. While for Dan MacDonald on the Mahindra, he was challenging for the title. At least he would have if he didn't have a difficult start to the season. He's always playing catch up thereafter, despite getting 16-point scores and having a fantastic stretch of victories, accumulating 8 overall during the season with 5 further podiums. He ended up 3rd in the championship behind Juan Mir and Arnold Canet with 306 points. And then for his final season in Moto3, Dan MacDonald got another new teammate with the Indian Kumar. Joining him has the Cypriot. Despite qualifying well, the race results were what were needed. And so for MacDonald, he needed to win the championship before he stepped up to Moto2, and he duly did with a dominant season, scoring points in every race, with winning half of them, getting 3 further podiums, and just about pipping Arnold Canet to the championship, as they had a ding-dong battle throughout the season. At the midway point in the night, MacDonald was pulling away, but then after the break in Austria and Britain, he started to fall back slightly. And after Aragon, it was very close between the pair. But then in Japan, there came a crucial swing in the Scots' favour. As Canet, he bowed to the pressure like we've seen quite a few times in Motegi in the past. And so for Dan MacDonald, he just held on in the end, and in Valencia scored the vital points he needed to grab the title by just 6 points from the double Moto3 world champion with 330 points overall. It was the first championship not just for MacDonald but for Elusive and for Mahindra. So heading into season 5 and the Moto2 season, Dan MacDonald was confident of perhaps being right up there once again, but that was not to be the case, as he scored points in 10 races, had 1 DNF in the Netherlands, his first retirement in Grand Prix motorcycle racing, but he did secure 7 wins, a further podium, but it also came with 4 last places, as he had a very Jekyll and Hyde season. In the end, he finished 5th in the championship with 204 points, way behind the Mark VDS pair of Morbidelli and Marcus, who were at the top. Meanwhile, he had a teammate who actually scored points in South African Jack Vardy, who finished 18th in the championship with 19 points after scoring in Valencia and in Aragon, and arguably should have scored in more races if he didn't crash in Malaysia or in Phillip Island or even in Japan. For season 6, Dan MacDonald had to show that those flashes of brilliance he displayed in his maiden Moto2 season could be consistent and overcome those walls of incompetence he showed quite often, and he showed at the beginning of Season 6 as well, which meant after a further season he was very much on the back foot and always playing catch up to Mark VDS's Franco Morbidelli and Alex Marquez. But in the middle third of the season he started to get his act together. He strung together a fantastic run of victories and the odd podium, as in the end he got 13-point scores that season, 9 victories and 2 other podiums. And in the final third of the season, his teammate, the Flying Finn, his 6th different teammate in 6 seasons, he started to rack up the consistent point scores and really supported his teammate in the final third of the season after a strange event in Silverstone, as the Flying Finn finished 8th with 143 points in the championship. But for Dan MacDonald, it was a difficult round in Aragon and then in Phillip Island, which made due to his title chances once and for all. But after a victory in the season finale in Malaysia, he still finished 2nd in the championship, just beating Alex Marquez to that spot and just losing out to Franco Morbidelli to the title by 4 points, as he had 271 points overall. Plus for Elusive, it wasn't just heartbreak in the Moto2 Championship, as in Moto3, the young hotshot Argentine rider Alejandro finished 2nd by just a minimum margin as well. While in MotoGP, they developed a team first on the KTM, then on a developed Yamaha, as they prepared for Dan MacDonald to step up in their 7th season. And MacDonald and the Flying Finn stepped up to MotoGP with a fantastic Yamaha, and they were the best of the satellite teams, even challenging the factory team near the end of the season. And for MacDonald, he put together a very consistent season of 17 point scores, 10 victories, his best season with victories and with 2 other podiums. But after a very difficult start to the season, before it got kicked off in Jerez, unlike in Moto2 when his seasons got kicked off at Le Mans, he couldn't quite make up the gap to Maverick Vinales on his Yamaha, the factory Yamaha that is, as he was very consistent, the Spaniard. And despite heading into the season finale with a chance of grabbing the title, MacDonald just couldn't do enough, and with his teammate falling as well on the final lap, Maverick Vinales secured enough points to grab the MotoGP title by just 4 points from Dan MacDonald. You couldn't write this any better, as despite the Scot grabbing those 10 wins, 2 other podiums, he finished 2nd in the championship with 320 points. You might note to moments such as Austria, where he retired in the final corner while battling for 10th, or at the Saxon Ring where he's batting with his teammate, and his teammate won, as the Flying finished 5th in the championship with 218 points in the end, and Elusive were 2nd in the team's championship. So heading into Dan MacDonald's final season, the Scot announced his retirement in the off-season. He's going to end after 8 seasons of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. Heading into his final season, he has 44 wins, 60 podiums, 1 Moto3 title. In the past couple of seasons, he's been runner-up in the Moto2 and MotoGP championships. With one more victory, he will enter the top 10 of all time of victories, and he will join the likes of 6-time champion Jim Redmond from the 60s and modern Australian legend Casey Stoner, the double MotoGP champion. So can Dan MacDonald equal the Australians World Championships with a victory in his final season in MotoGP? He'll be once again joined by the Flying Finn, while for Elusive there will be changes with the Moto2 and Moto3 teams as they look to bow out with titles in each category. But can they achieve it? Find out next time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.